Chapter 262. Hua Qinhuan was caught off guard by Su Yiyan's rhetorical question. For a moment, he didn't know how to refute it. Su Yiyan had already soaked all the herbs. Seeing that Hua Qinhuan was still sitting there in a daze, Su Yiyan rolled her eyes and walked over with a smile. "It's not convenient for you. Let me help you." Hua Qinhuan seemed to wake up from a dream. Blushing slightly, he said, "No need. I can do it myself. It's too slow for you to do it yourself. Let me do it." Hua Qinhuan, Su Yiyan saw his resistance and teased, "Or are you embarrassed?" Hua Qinhuan didn't say anything, but the tips of his ears quietly turned red. The smile in Su Yiyan's eyes deepened. She chuckled and said, "We are husband and wife. What can I not see about you?" Hua Qinhuan. Although there was nothing wrong with what she said, didn't their identities switch? In the end, Hua Qinhuan couldn't resist Su Yiyan's fervent attacks. He had no choice but to agree to Su Yiyan's request. Hua Qinhuan was still wearing the white wedding suit outside and a white shirt inside. Su Yiyan took a deep breath and helped him unbutton his shirt one by one. She was like a child unwrapping a birthday present. Her eyes were shining, and there was a little excitement in them. In fact, the scene inside didn't disappoint her. Although Hua Qinhuan looked thin, he was the type who looked thin in clothes but had muscles when he took them off. Especially his arms, which were firm and muscular. Even if his lower body was paralyzed, he had never given up on training his upper body. Su Yiyan's first reaction was to blush when she saw this scene. However, when she saw Hua Qinhuan's legs, which had shrunk due to years of insomnia, her shyness was instantly replaced by heartache. Her eyes were slightly red as she caressed Hua Qinhuan's legs. Her movements were careful and without any lust, as if she was touching something fragile. Hua Qinhuan had long been used to people looking at his legs with contempt and disdain. However, he still felt a little sad when he saw Su Yiyan's sad gaze. He reached out to hold Su Yiyan's hand and said in a hoarse voice, "If you continue to touch them, I'll have to charge you." "Charge?" Su Yiyan was stunned. She raised her eyebrows and asked, "What kind of charge?" "If you touch me, you kiss me on the face, if you touch me twice, kiss on the forehead, kiss me on and so on and so on. If you can't pay, you can give yourself to me." When Su Yiyan heard the first few sentences, she felt that the payment method was a little familiar. She almost could not help but laugh when she heard the last sentence. Wasn't this charging method the VVV, special benefit for IP customers that she had previously set? "Aren't you making a loss by charging so much?" "Lose?" "Of course." Su Yiyan took the initiative to kiss Hua Qinhuan. "I was originally yours. Don't you think you're losing out by exchanging your own things for these?" When Su Yiyan said this, Hua Qinhuan's expression couldn't help but soften a little. Although the room was warm, it would still be cold after sitting for a long time. Su Yiyan didn't continue to explore Hua Qinhuan's legs. She whispered, "I'll help you sit in the bathtub." "No need." With Su Yiyan's thin arms and legs, the bathtub was at least a little tall. Hua Qinhuan was still aware of his own weight and directly pressed the wheelchair below. Chapter 263. Although the wheelchair couldn't completely replace his legs, it could at least ensure that he didn't need to rely on others for his daily life. Su Yiyan watched Hua Qinhuan enter the tub with the help of the wheelchair and hurriedly asked, "How do you feel? Is it too hot? Do you want to add some cold water?" There was a seat at the bottom of the tub to ensure that after a person sat in it, the water could only stay near his shoulders. After sitting down, Hua Qinhuan smiled at Su Yiyan and comforted her, "It's okay. The temperature is suitable. It's just that the smell is a little strange. I added a lot of Chinese herbs to dredge the muscles and bones, promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis. It will smell a little strange. Is it bad? It's not bad. It just feels a little special. I've never smelled this before. Bear with it for the sake of treatment. If you're not used to this smell, I'll change some herbs for you another day. No need. I can accept this smell. Su Yiyan repeatedly confirmed that Hu Chenhuan really didn't reject this smell. She was relieved and asked with a smile, "Do you feel any difference in your body now?" Hu Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said honestly, "It's a little hot." Hot. This is a normal reaction. Su Yiyan asked tentatively, "Can you feel the side of your legs?" Hu Chenhuan knew what Su Yiyan wanted to ask. She lowered her eyes and shook her head in disappointment. Su Yiyan's heart ached and she hurriedly comforted her, "It's okay. This is just the beginning. The medicinal diet and acupuncture haven't been done yet. You'll feel it one day. Okay. It's your first time today, so you have to soak for more than half an hour. If you feel that the water is cold, remember to tell me. I'll add more water for you." Okay. After testing the temperature of the water, Su Yiyan leaned on the edge of the tub and waited with Hu Chenhuan for time to pass. As she waited, she seemed to think of something and burst out laughing. Hu Chenhuan heard the sound and turned to look at her in confusion. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. It's just that when you sit in the tub, it's like sitting in a big pot." In particular, the color of the medicinal bath was brown. It looked like Su Yiyan's throat couldn't help but move. She smiled foolishly and said, "Add some star anise, cinnamon, nutmeg, fennel. The fragrance will spread for 10 miles. Literally, eat, calm." Hu Chenhuan soon realized that the person guarding him was so tired that she had fallen asleep. He felt helpless and a little distressed at the same time. He reached out and touched her cheek, only to see her lips moving slightly as if she was saying something. He leaned closer to listen carefully and heard her muttering, "Braised eggs, chicken legs, chicken feet, duck gizzards." Hu Chenhuan was slightly stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He glanced at the time on the edge of the wheelchair and got up by holding the edge of the tub. He wanted to carry Su Yiyan back to the room. Unexpectedly, when he reached out, he heard Su Yiyan whisper again, "Chenhuan, I like you." Chapter 264. Su Yiyan slept until almost 9 o'clock the next day, perhaps because she had been too tired the previous day. Only then did she reluctantly wake up. In a daze, she heard a familiar chuckle. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment before she realized that there was someone lying next to her. Her brain, which had just woken up from a deep sleep, was still a little dazed. She subconsciously moved back. The laughter by her ear paused, and then a familiar voice asked, "You're awake?" Only then did Su Yiyan remember that yesterday was her and Hu Chenhuan's official wedding day. Now, the person lying next to her was her husband. Realizing this, Su Yiyan's face suddenly turned red. She lowered her head slightly and said, "Morning." "Morning." Hu Chenhuan's lips curled up slightly, and he took the initiative to kiss Su Yiyan. The scene in front of him was something he had imagined countless times, but he did not dare to hope for. Now, it had become reality. After being kissed, Su Yiyan was still a little dazed. After a while, she remembered that she was shy. At the same time, she also remembered what happened last night. How did I fall asleep last night?" "You were too tired. You were busy the whole day, so you fell asleep lying next to the bathtub." Su Yiyan was even more embarrassed when she heard that. She had clearly said that she would accompany him, but in the end, she had fallen asleep first. "Were you the one who carried me to the bed?" "Yes." Su Yiyan did not dare to look into Hu Chenhuan's eyes. If Hu Chenhuan's body was fine, after sleeping last night, she was afraid that she would wake up in a different situation today. With that thought, Su Yiyen's face turned even redder. Cough, did you soak enough time last night? Yes. Hua Chenhuan saw Su Yiyen's embarrassment. His eyes turned slightly, and he deliberately teased her. You talked in your sleep last night. Dream talk. Su Yiyen was shocked. What did I say? You said. Hua Chenhuan dragged her words to keep him in suspense. When Su Yiyen's heart skipped a beat, she said faintly, You like me. You like me very, very much. I'm the person you like the most in the world. Su Yiyen was stunned. When she came to her senses, her entire face turned red. Hua Chenhuan did not intend to let her go so easily. She smiled and said, So, you like me so much. Su Yiyen's face was so hot that it could fry an egg. When she heard his words, she suddenly looked up at him. She got up and jumped onto Hua Chenhuan. So what if I am? I was wrong to like my own husband. Hua Chenhuan looked at the person on top of him, and the teasing smile on his face gradually disappeared. She said fiercely that she liked him, but her flushed little face had already betrayed her. She was like a little kitten guarding its territory. All the hair on her body stood up, just to not show her fear. Hua Chenhuan's smile did not disappear. Well, you didn't do anything wrong. You like me. Su Yiyen was stunned. Only then did she realize that she might have been fooled by Hua Chenhuan. She was embarrassed and angry. Before she could finish speaking, the door was suddenly opened from the outside. Young master, young madam, are you awake? Uncle Zhang asked me to. Yu Xian's cheerful words came to an abrupt end. She stared blankly at the scene in the room. Su Yiyen widened her eyes in disbelief at the intruder. Before she could say anything, Yu Xian closed the door with a bang, as if he had been scalded. I didn't see anything. You can continue. After shouting, the sound of Yu Xian's running came from outside the door. This guy clearly realized that he had made a big mistake and fled to avoid punishment. Su Yiyen. Chapter 265. After Yu Xian ran away, the two of them looked at each other for 2 seconds. Su Yiyen was the first to react. She jumped off Hua Chenhuan's body and ran to the bathroom as if she was escaping. I'm going to brush my teeth first. Get up quickly. Let's go down and eat. Hua Chenhuan looked at her fleeing figure and couldn't help smiling. She touched the spot where she was pulled and got up. When Su Yiyen pushed Hua Chenhuan downstairs, only Uncle Zhang was standing at the dining table, fiddling with things. Yu Xian was nowhere to be found. He probably had to hide outside to avoid trouble for the rest of the day. When Uncle Zhang heard the noise, he subconsciously turned his head and looked in the direction of the sound. When he saw the two of them coming down hand in hand, his eyes lit up. He smiled and said, Young master, young madam is awake. The kitchen just made a few more snacks today. Young madam, take a look and see if they are to your liking. Su Yiyen pushed Hua Chenhuan to the dining table. She glanced at the snacks on the table and was stunned. These snacks, Uncle Zhang knew what Su Yiyen wanted to ask, so he explained first. Young madam made a lot of snacks for young master. These snacks were made by the family's chef. The taste is definitely better than the ones you made. Time is tight this morning. Young madam, you can eat some first. When we return to the family mansion tomorrow, I'll ask the kitchen to make more delicious snacks for you and young master. When Su Yiyen heard him say this, she was surprised and amazed. The family Hui's chef could recreate the same snacks just by looking at them. This family's chef was really talented. Su Yiyen walked to the seat next to Hua Chenhuan and sat down. She first picked up a soup dumpling and then an egg tart. She realized that not only did the snacks look the same, but they also tasted similar to the ones she made. She immediately sighed. Your family's chef is really amazing. When Hu Chenwan heard Su Yiyan praising the family's chef, her eyes flashed. She said in a deep voice, "You're even better. Their food isn't as good as yours." Su Yiyan's hand paused. She couldn't help but smile sweetly. "Then I'll make all your meals from now on." Before they got married, Su Yiyan often gave him special treatment. Now that they were married and living together, she naturally had to take care of everything and make more supplements for Hu Chenwan's body. When Hu received an affirmative answer, her face softened. When he heard the two's conversation, the smile on his face became more and more sincere. Not to mention that there weren't many people who knew how to cook these days. Even if they did, very few people would be willing to provide 3 meals a day for the people around them, not to mention Su Yiyan, who was pampered since she was young. She was a rich young lady who had been pampered since she was young. Uncle Zhang was an old man in the family Hua. When Hu Chenwan's parents were still alive, he had been working in the family Hua. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he had watched Hu Chenwan grow up. When he first found out about the reason for their marriage, he had some guesses and prejudices against Su Yiyan. However, during this period of time, he had seen Su Yiyan's care for Hu Chenwan. Now that he saw the way the two of them interacted, he couldn't help but sigh. The young master had good taste. He liked Miss Su at first glance. Unlike some people who mistook fish eyes for pearls, they would regret it one day. Su Yiyan didn't know what Uncle Zhang was thinking. Just as she was about to pick up another bun, a bowl of fragrant red bean porridge was placed in front of her. Chapter 266. Su Yiyan looked in the direction of the hand that was holding the porridge and immediately met Uncle Zhang's kind eyes. "I heard that on ancient Earth, the bride must eat a bowl of red bean porridge on the second day of her wedding to express the joyous occasion. Young mistress, since you like ancient Earth foods so much, you must like this custom too, so I asked the kitchen to make this bowl of red bean porridge." Su Yiyan was speechless. Red bean porridge was indeed a symbol of the couple's lingering feelings after marriage, but if she remembered correctly, when ancient Earth people drank red bean porridge on the second day of their wedding, it usually meant that the two of them were already. When she thought of this, Su Yiyan's face immediately flushed red. She opened her mouth to explain that nothing had happened between them last night, but then she remembered that the two of them were now husband and wife, so it would be strange if nothing had happened between them. She could only silently accept this hint and drink the red bean porridge mouthful by mouthful with a red face. When Uncle Zhang saw that she was obediently drinking the porridge, he felt rather comforted. After the two newlyweds entered the house last night, he was still a little worried and stood outside for a long time to listen in. He clearly heard Su Yiyan say that she wanted to help Hu Chenwan take off her clothes. Uncle Zhang's first thought at that time was that this young mistress looked young and immature. He didn't expect her to be so proactive in front of his young master. However, this was also good. With his young master's temperament, he really needed a proactive girl to complement him. In addition, when Su Yiyan pushed Hu Chenwan downstairs, she subconsciously held her waist a few times. She was exhausted from standing for so long yesterday, so Uncle Zhang was even more certain that the two of them had done what they should have done last night. Su Yiyan still didn't know that her simple action of holding her waist had inexplicably turned into a huge melon because of the old man's imagination. After breakfast, she pushed Hu Chenwan outside to admire the flowers and digest her food. "Oh right, did you feel uncomfortable after the medicinal bath last night?" When Su Yiyan said this, she couldn't help but feel a little regretful. "Last night, How did I fall asleep? I'm fine. I didn't feel any discomfort after the bath yesterday. On the contrary, I feel that my limbs aren't as cold as before. I slept very well yesterday." Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief when she heard what he said. That's good. The fact that your limbs are warm means that your blood is circulating. I'll give you acupuncture and massage in the evening. Then, I'll prepare some medicinal cuisine to go with it. Let's see how it works. Yes. Hua Qinhuan's cooperation made Su Yiyan happy, but she was also curious. You're just letting me do whatever I want. Aren't you afraid that I'm messing around and treating you badly? You won't. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. Why? You can't bear to. Being exposed, Su Yiyan groaned gloomily. Now you are confident. I wonder who was the one who was afraid that I would dislike him. Hua Qinhuan instinctively turned to look at her and teased, at that time, I didn't know you liked me so much. Of course I was worried. Now you know. Yes. Humph. Su Yiyan groaned proudly, but she didn't refute Hua Qinhuan's words. Hua Qinhuan raised the corner of his mouth. Immediately, he seemed to think of something and asked in a low voice, Aren't you going out today? Su Yiyan suddenly stopped and said unhappily, It's only the first day of our marriage. Do you want to drive me out? No, I just heard from your brother that you've been very busy every day since you opened the shop. Chapter 267. Unfortunately, the conditions didn't allow it, so she could only leave this regret for the future. While the two were talking, Dun Dun, who had been locked upstairs and hadn't been released yesterday, finally regained his freedom and rushed out of the house happily. He kept circling around Su Yiyan and barking. Only then did Su Yiyan remember this dog's son who had been neglected by her for a long time. Her eyes turned slightly, and she leaned close to Hua Qinhuan's ear and asked with a smile, Are you afraid of noise? Noise? I want Xiaoqi to bring Hua Hua over. Look at how much our son misses his wife. Su Yiyan said and looked meaningfully at Dun Dun. Dun Dun seemed to understand her words. He kicked his legs forward and collapsed on the ground, looking at his dog father eagerly. Hua Qinhuan, you're the mistress of the manor. You decide. Okay, I'll call her now. I'll make delicious food for you at noon. As soon as she said that, Dun Dun immediately barked a few times happily, as if he knew that he would soon be able to meet his dream love dog. The reason why Su Yiyan asked Ling Xiaoqi to come over at this time wasn't just for Dun Dun, but also because she wanted to call more people to eat together and liven things up. At that time, the foodie patients who were complaining on the internet that Su Yiyan was lazy in doing business and that the shop had only been open for 3 days before she left the customers to get married. She was really too irresponsible. Suddenly, a reminder popped up as they scrolled. Su Yiyan's live broadcast room, which had been closed for nearly a week, was now live. Look at what I saw. The missing person is back online. Hey, didn't the little cutie who went to the shop say that the streamer went to get married? Why is she live broadcasting at this time? Who cares why the streamer is live broadcasting at this time? It's good that there's food to eat. Streamer, are you releasing a new product today? Su Yiyan looked at the various messages that flew across the screen, as well as the increasing number of viewers in the upper right corner of the screen. He smiled and said, I did go to get married. Today is the first day of my wedding. I wanted to share the good news with everyone, so I started the live broadcast. As soon as Su Yiyan's words came out, the live stream instantly exploded. It's the host's first day of marriage, yet she still has so much energy. Looks like it's the host's husband's fault. He, what are you talking about, upstairs? I'm still a pure and innocent baby. I don't understand. I'm curious about what the host looks like. I'm curious about what the host's husband looks like. I'm curious about the host and her husband's wedding. I'm curious about everything, but what I'm most curious about is how the host spent last night. you're all bad, but I like it. Host, please do a live broadcast of the wedding night. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched when he saw that the topic in the live broadcast room was beginning to deviate. Just as he was about to change the topic, he heard a familiar notification sound. Congratulations to the host, Yen, for receiving 10 luxurious and exquisite villas sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. Congratulations to the host, Yen, for receiving 520 giant oil tankers sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. Congratulations to the host, Yen, for receiving 9,999 roses sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. A series of special gift effects almost overshadowed the comments that filled the screen. Many people spontaneously stopped spamming the screen when they saw the rows of gifts. Soon, only a colorful message was left on the originally crowded screen. Chapter 268. The bullet screen, which had finally calmed down, seemed to have flipped a switch and began to flood the screen with congratulatory messages. In the eyes of the audience in the live broadcast room, Wu Qinhuan's series of gifts might just be to congratulate Su Yiyan on his marriage. Only Su Yiyan knew that he might have done this simply because he didn't want others to ask about what happened last night. Thinking of this, Su Yiyan's face turned red again. Thank you, everyone. In order to celebrate my marriage, 3 lucky viewers will be given some braised food today. In addition, the guests who go to the restaurant tomorrow will be given a red egg as a wedding gift. Red egg? What is a red egg? Is it an egg with a red shell? What kind of animal's egg is red? Red eggs are eggs that have been dyed with pigment. Giving out red eggs to relatives and friends on festive occasions such as weddings, childbirth, and even the child's 1-month-old birthday is a custom on ancient Earth. It implies prosperity and auspiciousness in the future. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, many people were moved. So there is such a meaning. I must go to the host's shop tomorrow to get a red egg and freeload off her auspicious aura. Maybe my Prince Charming will appear soon and come to marry me on a rainbow cloud. The host's auspicious aura is not something that ordinary people can freeload off. I want to get a red egg too. Pray that I will be promoted and rich next year and quickly become a billionaire. A group of people began to make all kinds of wishes and pray for the next year in a gourmet live broadcast room. Those who didn't know better would think that they had accidentally joined a fan group. Su Yiyan let them make a fuss and found what he wanted from the freezer. Pork belly, duck gizzard, duck heart. It seems like I'm still missing something. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, Uncle Zhang walked in from outside with a big box of clean chicken feet in his hand. Young madam, these are the chicken feet you wanted. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. He hurried forward and took the box of chicken feet. Thank you. There is a lot of smoke in here. Uncle Zhang, you should go outside and wait. It will be ready soon. Okay. I'll go out now. This short interlude once again caused a heated discussion among the audience in the live broadcast room. Young madam. So the host is now at her husband's house. Is the person above stupid? The host and her husband have already had their wedding. Naturally, they have to live together. I was so happy before, I didn't notice that the background of the host's house has changed. But it's still as high-end as before. Of course, not all the comments were so harmonious. Soon, someone in the live broadcast room hinted that Su Yiyan had hooked up with a rich man. Such comments were quickly cleared, and the person who posted it was banned. However, there were still quite a few audience members who saw it. Unfortunately, most of them treated it as a joke. Are these days, edition. The streamer herself is a rich woman. She just married another rich man of equal social status. Can't some people hold back their jealousy? Chapter 269. Although Su Yan's livestream was not long, she had a lot of die-hard foodie fans. In addition, since the store was open for business, most people who went to the store to eat the medicinal cuisine felt the difference in their physical condition and attracted another wave of loyal fans. When Su Yan was a newcomer, many people wanted to defame her but failed. Now, it was needless to say. Su Yan put the chicken feet next to other ingredients and watched the audience speak up for her. Her heart felt warm. The next second, she saw someone asking about the chicken feet in her hand. You are all hating the rich, but I only care about the chicken feet in the streamer's hand. I've eaten this thing before. It doesn't have any meat, and it doesn't taste good after being stewed. I'm curious what the streamer will make it taste like. Don't worry, the previous fish was the same. In my impression, even if a lot of ginger was added to the fish, it still had a fishy smell. But the spicy boiled fish made people swallow their tongues. This will definitely work. Is the streamer going to add chili? I feel that chili can suppress many dishes with strong flavors. Spicy fans are looking forward to it. He had to admit that the foodies were very capable. He had only watched Su Yan's live stream a few times, and he had figured out that chili peppers could cover up many dishes with strong flavors and make them taste better. If it's chili, a little pepper will be added. The taste is not obvious. But you're right. If the chicken feet are delicious, chili can be used to flavor it. But today, I'm going to make a different method. When there's a chance next time, I'll teach you how to make something else. Su Yan was not surprised by the audience's comments on the chicken feet. In this era where Chinese herbs and chili were scarce, it was impossible for pickled pepper chicken feet and braised chicken feet to appear. But if it were not for these two, the chicken feet would always feel like they lacked a certain soul. This was also the reason why Su Yan had asked Uncle Zhang if there were any ready-made ingredients in the kitchen. After Su Yan finished speaking, she set up a pot, added water, and began to add the braising ingredients into the gauze bag. Star anise, cardamom, bay leaf, tangerine peel, cinnamon, fennel. Unlike the previous live streams, Su Yan did not explain the effects of the herbs to the audience one by one. This was because there were too many herbs to be used in the braising material. As the audience listened to the fresh medicinal herbs that they had never heard of before, they suddenly realized that the host might be preparing a big move. They looked forward to the pot of stew that looked like a hodgepodge. Only Huichenhuan, upon hearing Su Yan's introduction, subconsciously recalled what Su Yan had said the night before. Then, he looked at the pot of stew that was gradually boiling. Huichenhuan. So, you really want to cook me and eat me? The boiling hot water gradually brought the smell of the braised ingredients in the gauze bag together with the fragrance of the pork ribs that had been prepared earlier into the soup. The overbearing aroma instantly swept through the small kitchen and the live stream room. It even drifted outside the courtyard. Ling Xiaoqi and Zui Yanbai, who had heard the news and rushed over to eat and drink, were shocked. It also made the audience in the live stream room go crazy. What is this smell? How can it be so fragrant? Oh no, I'm already drooling before I even put the ingredients in. Chapter 270. The flavor of the marinade was obviously much milder than that of the chili, but its aroma was not inferior to that of the chili at all. Su Yan also considered that Huichenhuan's taste was strong and that she could not eat too much chili, so she could try this marinade. Moreover, this pot of marinade was well preserved and could be braised several times. The more it was braised, the more fragrant it would be. As long as she threw in the ingredients she wanted to eat, she could quickly braise a large pot of delicious food. It was very convenient. Su Yan had just put a few kinds of hard-to-cook meat into the marinade when she heard Ling Xiaoqi's voice from outside. Yan, what are you doing? Why is it so fragrant? A A girl's voice. Is there a young lady in the host's house? It's my friend. I cooked a lot today, so I asked her to come over and eat with me. As expected, this attracted a bunch of messages asking to be friends. At this time, they were not envious of Su Yiyen's mysterious husband anymore. They were envious of her friend. Wouldn't it be nice to have such a good friend who would come over to eat and drink from time to time? Su Yiyen did not know what they were thinking. She turned around and went out of the kitchen to ask Ling Xiaoqi to sit down first, but found that Zui Yanbai and the others were also there. Are you here to look for Chenwan? Zui Yanbai reacted quickly and said seriously, yes, there are a few documents in the company that require the young master's signature. We brought them over. Su Yiyen did not suspect anything. Thank you for your hard work. It will be almost noon in a while. Stay for lunch before you go back. Their eyes lit up slightly, but they pretended to decline. How can we do that? Will it be too much trouble for you? It's okay. It won't take much time to make a few dishes. It won't take much time. The two were waiting for her to say this. Without thinking, they said, then it's better to decline courteously than decline courteously. Su Yiyen. She felt that something was not right. Fortunately, Su Yiyen did not think too much about it. She turned around and went into the kitchen to continue the live broadcast. She put the ingredients that she had prepared earlier into the braising sauce and let it cook by the side. He then picked up a small tool and crushed the spices such as star anise leaves and soaked them in white wine for a period of time. At the same time, he took out the butter that he had prepared earlier and placed it into the wok to stir-fry together with the onions and shallots until they were fragrant. Then, he scooped out everything inside, leaving only the oil. After that, add in ginger, garlic, rock sugar, fermented beans, and chopped chili to stir-fry. Finally, add in pepper, chili, and the previously mashed spices, fermented glutinous rice, and other ingredients to stir-fry until it thickens. Let it cool and wait for it to solidify. The viewers in the live stream room had long been hooked by the aroma of the braised ingredients. When they smelled the hot pot ingredients, they almost ascended to heaven on the spot. F***ck, this smell is too strong. There was still an hour before lunch break, but my stomach was already growling loudly. Now, a group of people are watching me. I can't wait to dig a hole and bury myself. Ha 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 ha, upstairs, I understand. My stomach is also growling because of the smell in the live stream room. Fortunately, the taste and smell simulator can only be used on the host. Otherwise, my entire office would probably surround me and eat me. Su Yiyen looked at the screen full of complaints and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. She opened the ceramic jar at the side and took a look at the big bone soup that the family Hui chef had stewed early in the morning. Chapter 271. After doing that, Su Yiyen began to prepare the ingredients for the hot pot seasoning. First, there were some potatoes, taro, lettuce, radishes, and other vegetables. Then, there were some beef slices, pork, duck hearts, and duck gizzards. She cut everything, especially the beef and potatoes, which needed to be sliced. They were all cut to about the same size. Unsurprisingly, it attracted another round of praise. After she finished cutting these, the braised food on the side was almost ready. As soon as she opened the lid, the fragrant smell immediately rushed out. It was a bit stronger than before. Not to mention the people waiting outside, many viewers in the live broadcast room who had turned on their virtual sense of smell subconsciously swallowed their saliva. Su Yiyen poked the things in the pot with her chopsticks. After making sure that they were almost cooked, she picked them out one by one and put them on the plate. As soon as she put them down, the viewers who had been waiting for a long time quickly tasted them. The bullet screen was dense again. Oh, this meat tastes so fragrant. It's 100 times more fragrant than the braised pork I ate before. After tasting it, I only have one thought. Give me a bucket of white rice. I can eat the streamer's family until they become poor. Well, I've been slapped in the face again. Although this chicken feet doesn't have much meat, it's salty and crispy. The more I eat it, the more I want to eat it. I feel like I can eat it all day if you give me a plate. I'm so hungry, I'm really hungry. So hungry, I'm really hungry. Does the streamer lack friends? As long as they provide 3 meals, they can accompany you to go shopping, bring you tea, and be at your beck and call. Su Yiyen was amused by the audience's fancy requests for food. After putting away the braised food, she glanced at the hot pot seasoning that she had cooked before. It was already winter, and the weather was very cold. The hot pot seasoning in the pot had been stifled for more than half an hour and had already turned into oil cubes. Su Yiyen scooped up the small red oil cubes and put them into another pot. Then, she filled it with hot water. The soup base immediately turned red and emitted a tempting fragrance. It was also her first time making hot pot. She didn't customize it in advance, and it was impossible to buy a half-and-half double pot outside. She could only cook a pot of soup with 2 flavors. When the time came, they could choose according to their tastes. After doing all this, Su Yiyen sighed softly and smiled slightly. You've all tried the braised food, so I won't talk about it. Just now, someone asked me what this is. It's called hot pot seasoning. It's a kind of special soup base. With this soup base, you only need to prepare these ingredients in advance. After cooking them, you'll be able to eat delicious food. The reason why I prepared 2 pots is because everyone has different tastes. Some people like spicy food, while others can't handle spicy food. Hot pot was considered a food from ancient Earth. Considering the taste, there was a special pot with a piece of metal in the middle that divided the pot into 2. One side was filled with spicy soup while the other side was filled with clear soup. It was also known as the Mandarin duck pot. This way, family and friends can gather together to eat without having to worry about different tastes. Su Yiyen's words made the audience yearn for it, but they did not expect to hear Su Yiyen say in the next second, hot pot needs to be boiled and eaten on the spot, so I won't let you guys eat the broadcast. The braised food will be put online tomorrow. Most people can eat it, but don't eat too much at once. It's easy to get heaty. Since I'm in a rather remote place right now, I won't be doing the lucky draw today. See you tomorrow at the shop. Chapter 272. Dinner is ready. Come and help me out. Zhuo Yanbai and the others were already tempted by the aroma, and their necks were almost stretched out like swans' necks. Upon hearing Su Yiyen's words, they immediately rushed into the kitchen and asked enthusiastically, "Is there anything we need to move?" Su Yiyen was shocked by their shining eyes. After a few seconds, she said, "These 2 pots of soup have to be carried to the front. Set them up." "Understood, just leave it to us." "Young mistress, please move aside so that you don't get scalded." As Gu Xiaoyang spoke, he pushed Su Yiyen aside and followed Zhuo Yanbai to carry out the soup. Not long after the 2 of them left, Uncle Zhang and Ling Xiaoqi came in. "Young mistress, please wait outside. We'll carry these out." After Uncle Zhang finished speaking, he politely drove Su Yiyen out. Su Yiyen was confused. Su Yiyen felt that she had been abandoned after being used. She helplessly turned around and left the kitchen to find her husband to comfort her broken heart. Hua Qinhuan happened to be coming downstairs after watching the live broadcast. Su Yiyen met him as soon as she came out of the kitchen. Her eyes lit up as she talked to him about the dishes she had just cooked. "I made braised food and hot pot. There are two flavors. You should prefer spicy hot pot, but you just took a medicinal bath last night. I have to perform acupuncture on you tonight, so you can only eat a little spicy food. Let's eat the lighter one today, okay? Since the dishes were made by Su Yiyan, Hu Qinhuan naturally had no objections. Okay. Seeing that he was so cooperative, Su Yiyan couldn't help but lean over and kiss him. Zhuo Yanbai and Gu Xiaoyang were about to go back to the kitchen to see if there was anything else they needed help with when they bumped into Uncle Zhang and the others. They also happened to see Su Yiyan's family. Therefore, when Su Yiyan raised his head after kissing her, he was met with the astonished gazes of several people. Ahem, since everyone is here, let's start eating. Su Yiyan quickly pushed Hu Qinhuan to the table and pretended to be a quail. A gentle smile flashed across Hu Qinhuan's eyes. However, when she looked at Zhuo Yanbai and the others, her eyes were a little colder, and there was a hint of warning in them. The few of them shuddered and no longer dared to look around. They obediently ran to the kitchen and continued to move things. Although Su Yiyan had prepared a lot of ingredients, it was enough for everyone to make 2 trips back and forth. Putting down the dishes in their hands, no one raised their chopsticks. Instead, each and every one of them looked at Su Yiyan eagerly, as if they were little chicks waiting to be fed. Su Yiyan, cough, this is a spicy pot, and this is a big bone clear soup pot. You can choose according to your preferences. When the soup is boiling, you can add things to it. As Su Yiyan spoke, he began to add lotus root slices, cucumbers, and other vegetables, as well as beef slices into the pot. The vegetables and beef slices are easier to cook. You can eat them when they float. The beef slices don't have to be boiled for too long. You can scoop them out after boiling them for a few times. If you boil them for too long, they will become overcooked and won't taste good. As Su Yiyan spoke, he demonstrated to the others. After the demonstration, he turned around and handed the boiled beef to Hu Qinhuan. Try it. Under everyone's envious gazes, Hu Qinhuan lowered his head and took a bite of the beef. The well-cooked beef was tender and delicious. Paired with the rich bone broth and the dipping sauce that Su Yiyan had made, it tasted special. Delicious. Chapter 273. They couldn't say anything, so they turned their grief into appetite and clumsily learned from Su Yiyan to cook the hot pot with the serving chopsticks. At first, they were a little unfamiliar with it, but later, they slowly realized the joy of cooking by themselves. After Su Yiyan helped Hu Qinhuan boil a few things, she looked at Uncle Zhang, who was standing by the side. She smiled faintly and said, "Uncle Zhang, sit down and eat with us. I've prepared a lot, and we won't be able to finish it all by ourselves." Well. Uncle Zhang hesitated, but Hu Qinhuan spoke before he did, "Sit down. It's more lively with more people." Uncle Zhang was a little stunned. He thought that since Master and Madam passed away and Hu Qinhuan's leg became like this, the family began to become like a big ice house. There were no more relatives or friends, and young Master became taciturn. He didn't interact with people easily, and he didn't even go out. But now, there was finally some warmth and life in the ice house. The boiling hot pot dispelled the cold of winter and made the old man's eyes red. Uncle Zhang held the bowl and looked at the 2 people opposite him, who only had eyes for each other. He lowered his head and smiled with relief. Gu Xiaoyang happily picked up a spicy beef slice and put it in the bowl. When he was about to eat, he suddenly felt a hand touching his thigh. Gu Xiaoyang's hand trembled, and he almost screamed on the spot. The next second, he saw Yuzian poke his head out from under the table and make a gesture to him to keep quiet. Gu Xiaoyang. What was going on? Yuzian put his palms together and made a gesture to him, but his eyes were glued to the beef slice in Gu Xiaoyang's hand. Gu Xiaoyang was embarrassed. He thought of what Yuzian had said when he tipped him off, and understood instantly. This guy was afraid that young master would punish him for what happened in the morning, but he was reluctant to give up the delicious food in his mouth. Gu Xiaoyang sighed. In the end, he still cared about Yuzian's credit for tipping him off, so he secretly put the beef slice under the table for Yuzian. After that, the two of them began to eat and feed each other in a harmonious manner. Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan were busy feeding each other, so they didn't have time to care about the others. Uncle Zhang and the others were further away, so everything was fine at first. Until, Ling Xiaoqi felt the tablecloth shaking slightly under the table. She looked down and saw a hand on the floor not far away. Ling Xiaoqi narrowed her eyes and stood up with a scream. Su Yiyan and the others were shocked. What's wrong? There's someone down there. Gu Xiaoyang looked embarrassed. Su Yiyan and the others also changed their expressions. Subconsciously, they pulled Hu Chenhuan and moved back to keep a distance from the table. Hua Hua, who had been sitting nearby and ignoring Dundan's harassment, thought that something had happened when she heard her owners scream. With a whoosh, she darted under the table and bit Yuzian's fleshy butt. Ah! An excessively shrill scream resounded throughout the manor, and the servants who were cleaning outside the courtyard were so scared that they trembled. Everyone in the room watched as a familiar figure crawled out from under the table, wailing and jumping up and down like a monkey. Upon closer inspection, they saw a half-grown corgi cub on Yuzian's butt, biting the part with the most meat. No matter how Yuzian struggled and begged for mercy, the cub wouldn't let go and vowed to bite off a piece of Yuzian's meat. Chapter 274. However, this was not the worst part. When Dun saw that his wife had rushed out and was still hanging behind Yuzian's butt, he was stunned for 2 or 3 seconds before he also rushed over. With a flying pounce, he bit Yuzian's other butt. Everyone. So miserable. Su Yiyan and the others were stunned for a few seconds before they recovered from Yuzian's wailing. They wanted to help, but they didn't know what to do. The scene was a little chaotic for a moment. Ling Xiaoqi didn't expect Hua Hua to suddenly rush out. She was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. She hurriedly shouted, "Hua Hua, let go, don't bite." Su Yiyan heard this and quickly echoed, "Yes, yes, yes, Dun, let go. Don't put anything in your mouth. What if you bite something dirty and have diarrhea?" Zhua Yanbai and the others. "Young madam, is this the main point?" But it turned out that Su Yiyan's words were useful. When the 2 dogs heard her shout, their small bodies stiffened. Finally, they let go of Yuzian's mouth and jumped down. As soon as the 2 dogs let go, Yuzian jumped a few more times on the spot. His body fell forward and he collapsed on the ground with his face facing the ground. Fortunately, the weather was cold and the room was covered with blankets. Otherwise, with the force of his fall, he would definitely be disfigured. Gu Xiaoyang and Zhua Yanbai watched the 2 corgis jump down from Yuzian and walk away before they dared to go forward to check on his condition. After confirming that he should be alive, they raised their hands and poked his head. They gloated and said, "Are you still alive?" Yuzian moved his head and buried his face in the carpet again, unwilling to come out. Let him die. Not only was he caught stealing food, but he was also bitten in the butt by 2 dogs in front of so many people. His reputation in this life was completely ruined. Yuzian was both embarrassed and in pain. She wished she could travel back in time to half an hour ago and give herself a good beating to wake up from the temptation of delicious food. Ling Xiaoqi wasn't stupid. When she saw how familiar the 2 of them were with Yuzian, she knew that he was probably someone from Hu Chenhuan's family. Feeling a little awkward, she hugged Hua Hua and said, "I'm sorry." Hu Chenhuan glanced at Yuzian. "No need to apologize. He asked for it." Instead of sitting in a good seat, he insisted on hiding under the table. As for the reason, it was easy to guess with a little thought. It wasn't the first or second time that this brat had barged in without knocking first. This was a good opportunity to teach him a lesson. If he dared to do this again, he would close the door and play Dun-Dun. Dun-Dun, who was inexplicably entrusted with such an important task. At that time, Yuzian didn't know his young master's sinister intentions. When he heard Hu Chenhuan say this, he whimpered and buried his face in the carpet again, even more unwilling to get up. Su Yiyan saw him like this and felt a little sympathetic. He asked in a low voice, "Why are you hiding under the table? Do you want to take advantage of our Xiaoqi?" Yuzian's whole body shook. He didn't care about his face and the burning pain in his butt. He said anxiously, No, I definitely don't have such an idea." "Then why?" Yuzian opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. Seeing that he didn't respond, Su Yiyan became more and more certain of his thoughts. He looked at Yuzian with eyes full of pain and disappointment, as if saying, "I didn't expect you to be such a person." Chapter 275. Perhaps because Yuzian's expression was too sullen, Gu Xiaoyang and the others standing on the side couldn't help laughing out loud. When Yuzian heard them laughing, he felt even more ashamed and angry. Fortunately, although the two laughed, they still helped Yuzian explain. "Young madam, Zian didn't mean to offend Miss Ling. He just wanted to eat your food too much. If he wants to eat my food, then eat it. How can I be so stingy as to not let him eat it? He did something wrong this morning and was worried that you and young master would blame him." This morning? Su Yiyan suddenly realized. "Are you talking about what happened this morning? We've almost forgotten about it, but you still remember it. But it wasn't a big deal, so you don't have to be so nervous. Do you think we'll eat you?" Yuzian thought to himself, "You can't eat me, but you can make me unlucky. Especially young master." With his vengeful temper, it was impossible for him not to be unlucky these days. As if reading Yuzian's mind, Su Yiyan asked Hu Chenhuan after she finished speaking, "Chenhuan, don't you think so?" Hu Chenhuan's eyes flickered, and naturally agreed with his wife unconditionally. "Yes. Yuzian. So I'm just being unreasonable and worrying for nothing." Yuzian gave up struggling. He lowered his head and looked like he had nothing to live for. Ling Xiaoqi, on the other hand, was a little curious. What did he do this morning? Why is he so scared? Su Yiyan coughed softly, straightened her face, and changed the topic. "It's nothing. Which one of you take him to treat his wound? Also, remember to get vaccinated. Although Dun-Dun and Hua have both been vaccinated, it's better to be safe than sorry." As soon as Su Yiyan said that, Gu Xiaoyang and Gu Xiaoyang immediately took 3 steps back and distanced themselves from Yuzian by 3 meters. Obviously, neither of them wanted to miss such a rare meal just to send him to be bandaged. Yuzian. Maldif *Ker was a living person like him, not as important as a meal. He finally saw through these two fellows. Plastic Brotherhood, goodbye. Although, if he thought about it from another perspective, if they were bitten and asked him to send them to the hospital, he would actually not be very willing. In the end, it was Uncle Zhang who called for help to escort him off the island. Before he left, Yuzian looked at them with an extremely sad expression. Especially when he saw the table full of unfinished dishes, he was so regretful that his intestines turned green. As soon as Yuzian left, Su Yiyan and the others sat back down and started eating. While helping Hu Chenhuan cook, Su Yiyan recalled Yuzian's expression when he left and couldn't help but laugh. "I'll cook some porridge and have someone send it to Zian later. He just ate a few mouthfuls, so he's definitely not full yet." Hu Chenhuan frowned. Although she didn't object, there was still a hint of jealousy in her eyes. Su Yiyan laughed and coaxed her in a low voice. After all, it's our family's dog that bit someone. We have to do something. It was as if their child had gotten into trouble, and as parents, they had to do something to compensate the people who had been harmed by their child. Hua Qinhuan's jealousy dissipated in an instant, and she said awkwardly, "Thank you for your hard work. It's okay. Our Dun is so naughty. I'm used to it." Chapter 276. Su Yiyan had prepared a lot of food. She thought that it would be more than enough for a few people. She did not expect that this group of people would be like the reincarnation of gluttons who had been hungry for many years. They would not stop until they finished the food. In the end, except for her and Hua Qinhuan, the few people, including Uncle Zhang, ate until they were full. Ling Xiaoqi covered her round belly and took Su Yiyan to the small courtyard behind the manor for a walk. Zhou Yanbai and Gu Xiaoyang followed Hua Qinhuan upstairs. What they said before was not entirely an excuse. They did have something to report to Hua Qinhuan. However, before Yuzian called them, they did not have to come so early to be third wheels. Hua Qihan and his wife found out about Hua Xiaofeng and that woman falling into the water last night. It is said that he threw a big tantrum at the hospital and smashed a lot of things. Did he pay for it? Gu Xiaoyang looked confused. What? He smashed things in the hospital. Did he pay for it? Gu Xiaoyang suddenly twitched when he heard this. He found that his young master's style had changed after he got married. I don't think so. Then let him pay for it. Destroying public property is not what a good citizen should do. If he dares not to pay for it, let someone expose him. The head of the whole group flew into a rage in public and made a scene. I believe a lot of media outlets will like this report. Gu Xiaoyang was slightly stunned. Immediately, his eyes lit up and he said, I understand. Zhou Yanbai heard this and asked tentatively, are you going to completely fall out with Hua Qihan? At the wedding banquet last night, when he heard Hua Qinhuan openly say to those women that he was the only heir of the family Hua, he already had a guess in his heart. Now that he heard his young master's words, Zhou Yanbai was even more certain. I gave him time and opportunity, but he didn't take it. Hua Qinhuan twirled the wedding ring in her hand as a cold glint flashed across her eyes. He shouldn't have touched my people. Gu Xiaoyang and Gu Xiaoyang looked at each other and saw some understanding in each other's eyes. Sure enough, young madam was young master's only reverse scale. Anyone who touched her would die. However, this was exactly what they wanted. That's great. All these years, I've watched that family occupy that position with a clear conscience. From time to time, they would come in front of young master to flaunt their prowess and disgust others. Let's see how they can still be proud now. It was stolen in the first place, and yet they are still so shameless. Cough cough, cough cough, Gu Xiaoyang stopped complaining abruptly. Looking at Zhou Yanbai, who kept winking at him, he realized that he had said something wrong and hurriedly shut his mouth. Zhou Yanbai took the opportunity to change the topic. I heard from the people who keep an eye on Hua Qihan's family that Hua Qihan and his wife are even more dissatisfied with that woman because of this incident. Gu Xiaoyang knew that Zhou Yanbai was helping him to smooth things over, so he took the opportunity to say, isn't that so? What was Hua Xiaofeng thinking? He didn't want a virtuous wife like young madam and chose a wretch who has no family background, no talent, and is not even as pretty as young madam. He dragged her around every day to show off his intelligence. It's so funny. When Hua Qinhuan heard what he said, she only replied faintly, if he wasn't blind, how could I have picked him up? Chapter 277. If what you said last night got out, I'm afraid that Hu Qihan will come to trouble you and young madam. Hu Qinhuan narrowed his eyes dangerously. If he can still trouble me and Yan Yan, it means that he hasn't encountered much trouble yet. Cui Yanbai's eyes darkened slightly. The land that Hu Qihan bought before is almost in trouble. But if this happens, I'm afraid that the Hu Corporation will also suffer a great loss. It doesn't matter. The Hu Corporation that Hu Qihan has been in charge of for so many years is no longer the Hu Corporation that my father left behind. Cui Yanbai frowned and remained silent. With Hu Qinhuan's current assets, the small Hu Corporation was indeed not worthy of his attention. But in this case, why should he spend so much effort to get the Hu Corporation back? As if seeing Cui Yanbai's thoughts, Hu Qinhuan sneered. No matter what, the Hu Corporation was left behind by my father. They don't deserve it. Hu Qinhuan said and asked again, how is the investigation of the cause of my parents' death going? When they heard Hu Qinhuan's question, their expressions turned solemn and they said apologetically, it's been a long time since the incident happened. Most of the people involved have gone far away or passed away. It's a little slow to investigate. This answer was within Hu Qinhuan's expectations. He lowered his eyes and said, it's okay. You can continue to investigate. There will always be a result. If this matter had nothing to do with Hu Qihan and his wife, it would be fine. If it was really related, Hu Qinhuan's eyes were full of hostility. He subconsciously touched the ring on his finger. When he opened his eyes again, the terrible hostility had gradually dissipated. Downstairs, Su Yiyan was dragged by Ling Xiaoqi to the back garden of the manor and walked back and forth a few times. She was not so full anymore. Then, they sat side by side under the swing in the yard and chatted. The yard was surrounded by blue roses that Su Yiyan liked. Circles of lavender morning glories climbed on the pergola of the swing. It looked warm and beautiful, perfectly in line with the fairyland of the ancient castle and fairy tales. It's so beautiful here. Ling Xiaoqi praised while swinging the swing. I used to think that few rich men were not fickle. Now that I see you getting along with your husband, I realize that I was narrow-minded. There are good and bad people in every group. There are good people and bad people in the poor, and naturally, there are also bad people in the rich. The kind of rich men you're talking about are either playboys who live their lives and wait for death, or those who rely on women to start their careers but are arrogant and self-righteous. It does make sense for men to turn bad once they have money, but it's not absolute. It's just that under the bombardment of money and drunken riddles, fewer people can hold on. That's why girls still have to keep their eyes open. Don't look for a boyfriend in the garbage dump. If you're really unfortunate enough to meet one, you have to know how to withdraw in time to stop your losses, lest you sink deeper and deeper. Ling Xiaoqi listened to her words and was silent for a long time. She couldn't help but laugh and say, "Oh, you have become a relationship consultant after getting married. You have a lot of reasons. It's a pity that many things in this world are easier said than done, just like your husband. What you're saying now makes sense. If he really changes in the future, you may not be willing to let go." "That's impossible." "What?" "Even if he changes, he will only love me more and more. It's impossible for the kind of thing you're worried about to happen." Chapter 278. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness as he chuckled. "Men become bad when they have money. Then why don't we make them poor? Your man owns such a large manor under his name. How can he be poor? Who said that this manor is his?" Ling Xiaoqi blinked. Then, as if she had thought of something, her eyes suddenly widened. "It's not his. Could it be that he rented it?" "That's right. Buying an island and a manor for a wedding is too extravagant. In fact, renting this place to hold such a dream wedding for you is already very considerate. What are you thinking? This island is not rented. Not rented. Then just now you. This island was indeed his before, but. Su Yiyan raised his chin, looking proud as if he was showing off his favorite toy to a good friend. It's mine now. Yours. Ling Xiaoqi almost turned into a screaming chicken. That's right. When he proposed to me, he gave this to me. Not only here, he also gave me a lot of movable and immovable property as betrothal gifts. My parents didn't accept them and transferred them to me as my dowry. After speaking for a long time, Su Yiyan didn't hear any movement from Ling Xiaoqi's side. He turned his head and saw Ling Xiaoqi's sparkling little eyes. Dear, do you still need a leg accessory? Su Yiyan refused. You're too heavy. I can't walk if I hang it on me. I don't want you. Ling Xiaoqi clutched her chest, looking as if she had suffered a violent blow. It's true that you don't want your old love when you have a new one. When you liked me, you made all kinds of vows and sweet nothings. You even wanted to pick the stars and the moon for me. Now that you've met someone better, I, the white moonlight, have become yesterday's flower. It's too sad. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly, but his face still looked cold and indifferent. Give up. I've already found my true love. It's impossible between us. However, if you're willing, you can let our pups replace us to make up for this regret. Ling Xiaoqi's face changed slightly. She stopped pretending to cry and said with arms akimbo, well, not only are you a scumbag, you even dare to covet my Hua. Aren't you doing this because I love you? You're going too far. Give up. I'll never agree to this marriage. Fortunately, the two cubs ran out to play after eating. Otherwise, if Dun, that kind of licking dog, really heard the conversation between these two masters of drama, it might really believe it and lay on the ground to make a scene and act shamelessly. TSK. Su Yiyan sighed, looking like an old mother who was worried sick about her child. That's not right. Our Dun is a good boy. He looked honest and was loyal to Hua. It was just that Chi Hua was not by his side, and he had never thought of looking for another dog. What an infatuated and loyal dog. Now he has a handsome and rich dog for a father. His value has skyrocketed. He can be considered a noble among dogs. He's the prettiest pup in the Corgi family. You and your Hua are a perfect match. There's nothing more perfect than that. Ling Xiaoqi listened to Su Yiyan's shameless boasting and almost couldn't hold back her laughter. No matter how good he is, it's useless if my Hua doesn't like him. Just as she finished speaking, there was a sudden high-pitched barking and a woman's ear-piercing scream outside the door. Chapter 279. When Su Yiyan and Dun ran out of the backyard, they saw Hua's fur bristling as it bared its fangs at the two people in front of it. Dun was barking at them from the side. The funniest thing was that Mrs. Hua, who was proud of herself outside, was now weak in the knees. She screamed and grabbed her husband's pants. She used so much strength that she almost pulled Hua Qihan's pants off. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and felt that this scene was very familiar. Hua Qihan's face was livid. His aggressive manner when he came had long faded away, leaving only a belly full of anger. He tried to pull up his pants and gnashed his teeth, wanting to kick the two dogs. Su Yiyan's eyes turned cold and her face darkened. Fortunately, Mrs. Hua was holding them back. Hua Qihan's kick did not hurt the two little guys at all. Instead, he staggered and almost fell. Uncle Zhang, who had been smiling and pretending to coax the two dogs to leave, saw this scene and his face darkened. He said coldly, President Hua, this dog is young madam's favorite pet. If you heard it, I'm afraid it will be difficult to explain to young madam. The term President Hua and the intimate young madam formed a sharp contrast. It also fully showed Uncle Zhang's intimate attitude toward the two. Hua Qihan had always been sensitive to this kind of differential treatment. His face immediately darkened and he laughed angrily. Explain. What do I need to explain to her? It's just a beast. Let alone injuring it, even if I kick it to death today, what can she do to me? Uncle Zhang's face was cold and he did not comment. He had once doted on this young master, but it was a pity that this young master was an ingrate who could not be nurtured properly. Back then, Madam and old master doted on him and gave him everything. As soon as the two of them passed away, he could not wait to reveal his true colors. Not only did he want to monopolize all the property of the family Hua, but he also wanted to drive the young master out of the family Hua. Fortunately, old master had left a will and left some real estate to the young master. Otherwise, such an unfilial, heartless, and heartless scum had long made these old people, who had been in the family Hua for a long time, bitterly disappointed. Naturally, their attitude towards him was not any better. However, Hua Qihan had no self-awareness at all. He still felt that these people owed him for offending their superiors. Who says I can't do anything to you? On the second day of their wedding, Su Yiyan originally did not intend to come forward and argue with these troublesome things. When she heard Hua Qihan's words, she sneered and walked out. She held the two dogs in her arms. Poor Zai Zai, you're being bullied by these outsiders in your own home. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Master is here. Dun Dun was still barking, vowing to be a proud dog that Hua Hua could rely on. As soon as it heard its master's words, it immediately softened and cried out pitifully. In an instant, it changed from dog Out Yen to dog Jiao Jiao. Hua Hua glanced at it with disdain, its face saying, "How did I get to know such an embarrassing dog like you?" Chapter 280. Su Yiyan was already angry at this idiot who wanted to kill her dog. When she heard his arrogant words, she almost stepped forward and kicked him. At this time, Uncle Zhang was still worried that she would be at a disadvantage, so he explained, "Young madam, it's like this. Dun Dun and Hua Hua were playing in the front yard when President Hua and Mrs. Hua suddenly came to visit. As soon as they saw Dun Dun, they suddenly rushed up and kicked it. Hua Hua happened to see this scene, so it bit Mrs. Hua. Hua Hua, who had been slightly raising its chin and disdainful of what was happening in front of it, heard Uncle Zhang's explanation and hit Dun Dun with the back of its hand. It was not clear whether it was dissatisfied with how useless it was or depressed that it made such a fool of itself. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard. Su Yiyan's expression changed when she heard Uncle Zhang's words. She picked up Dun Dun and said anxiously, "You were kicked. Where were you kicked? Let me take a look." Dun Dun was turned around by its owner and thought that its owner was playing with it. It immediately cooperated and pretended to be weak and collapsed into its owner's arms. Little did it know that Su Yiyan was scared half to death because of its actions. "Dun Dun, what's wrong with you? Don't be afraid, Master will take you to see a doctor." "It's okay, it's okay." As she said that, she picked up Dun Dun and scolded Hua Qihan with a dark face. "What kind of dog is this? You're Chenhuan's big brother and the head of family Hua. Why don't you take a look and see if you're worthy? It's fine if my Dun Dun is fine today, but if something really happens to him because of your kick, believe it or not, I'll buy a bunch of mad dogs and send them to your house tomorrow. They'll bite you, your wife, and your dog's son to death." Su Yiyan's little mouth was like a machine gun, spitting out words one after another. Hua Qihan's face turned green and he was so angry that he almost died on the spot. Uncle Zhang did not expect her to suddenly explode. It took him a while to react. He held back his laughter and said, "Young madam, I was too careless with my words just now and caused you to misunderstand." Although President Ho wanted to kick the dog, he wasn't as agile as a young man, so he only narrowly missed it. Su Yiyen, who was rushing out, stopped abruptly and lowered his head to look at Dun Dun. "Are you all right?" Dun Dun looked back at her innocently, trying to get away with it. Su Yiyen was silent for a few seconds before he tried to salvage the situation. Even if he wasn't really hit, he must have been scared to death. "Our family's Dun Dun is still a baby. Which heartless bastard had the heart to do such a thing to it? You too, I just told you not to bite these dirty things at noon, but you didn't listen. What if you have diarrhea?" Dun Dun whimpered, feeling wronged. Hua Chi-han had thought that Su Yiyen would ignore him after learning that she did not kick the B***** dog. Who would have thought that after waiting for such a long time, all he got was a few words? He almost vomited blood. "You're full of filthy words and distorting the truth. It was clearly your dog that bit my wife, but now you're blaming us and talking to us like this. Is this the upbringing of the Su family?" Su Yiyen's face darkened and she sneered. "If you hadn't kicked my dog, would they have bitten you? You came to my house to kick my dog. Don't talk about being bitten in the leg. Even if you were bitten to death, don't you deserve it?" Su Yiyen said, ignoring how ugly Hua Chi-han's expression was. She turned to Uncle Zhang and said, "Uncle Zhang, check the planet's laws on the heaviest punishment for trespassing and what rights the owner has to deal with trespassing." Chapter 281. Hua Chi-han's face darkened even more. "How dare you?" Su Yiyen chuckled. "Why wouldn't I dare? Let's not talk about whether Qinhuan recognizes you as his elder brother. Even if he does, I'm not related to you by blood. I won't show you any mercy. Don't try to use family as an excuse. Don't you know? Qinhuan transferred this island to me before we got married. Now, this island and this manor are all mine. You came to the island without the owner's permission, broke into my manor, and hurt my dog. If I call someone to arrest you now, how many days do you think you and your wife will be detained?" Hua Chi-han's face turned pale. He didn't expect Su Yiyen to behave like this after marrying Hua Qinhuan. Before this, when she met with these elders, she had clearly behaved very politely and gracefully, knowing when to advance and when to retreat. Even when she broke off her engagement with Hua Xiaofeng and was about to be engaged to Hua Qinhuan, she had only said a few words to them. She had never behaved like this. Hua Chi-han had obviously forgotten that Su Yiyen had respected them when she met them before because Mrs. Hua was an old friend of Qing Shuqin. She had respected them because of Qing Shuqin. Now that the two families had turned against each other, they still wanted to use their status as elders to suppress her. They didn't deserve it. Su Yiyen glanced at the two of them coldly and sneered. "Uncle Zhang, tell them, if they break into a private house and have a conflict with the owner, how will they be punished?" "Young madam, according to the rules, if they break into a private house and have a conflict with the owner's family can take certain measures against the intruder. Whether they kill or maim the intruder, it's considered self-defense and irresponsibility. On the contrary, if the owner is injured because of this, they can ask the intruder to pay some compensation. Did you hear that? Do you want to leave on your own, or do you want me to drive you away? If it's the former, seeing that you're old, I'll just ask you for some compensation for the mental damage my family's Dun Dun and Hua Hua suffered. If it's the latter, it won't be as simple as compensation." Just as Su Yiyen's voice fell, several servants ran out of the house. Looking at their postures, they really weren't joking. They were just waiting for Su Yiyen's order to throw them out to the sea to feed the fish. "Are you threatening me?" Hua Chi-han also panicked. He didn't expect Su Yiyen to be so lawless and unconventional. He couldn't care less and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Where's Huichenwan? Tell Huichenwan to come out." Su Yiyan was also angry when she heard Huichihan calling for them. Huichihan and his wife had rushed over so anxiously on the second day of their wedding. They were clearly here to pick a fight. She had planned to send these two people away while Huichenwan was still upstairs talking with Gu Xiaoyang and the others. Unexpectedly, these two people started to howl. "Look at you, why are you shouting so loudly? I've already told you that I'm the owner of this manor on this island. Why are you still shouting and yelling when you've broken into my place? You guys, help me. Since they don't want to leave, send them away." Several servants subconsciously glanced at Uncle Zhang when they heard this. When they saw Uncle Zhang nod, they wanted to go forward and grab them. Huichihan was so angry that he subconsciously took a step back. When a servant reached out, he said, well, a group of traitorous people. Try to touch me again and see what I'm going to do. If I don't see Huichenwan today and get him to give me an explanation, no one can make me leave. Chapter 282. As soon as Huichihan finished speaking, a cold voice came from behind them. Everyone in the courtyard was stunned. They turned around and saw Huichenwan being pushed out by Sui Yanbai. "Why did you come out?" Su Yiyan ran to Huichenwan's side with Dun Dun in her arms. Her face was full of worry and anxiety. Huichenwan patted Su Yiyan's hand comfortingly and asked in a low voice, "Is Dun Dun all right?" Su Yiyan was slightly stunned. She took the opportunity to complain. "He's not injured. He's just a little scared." Dun Dun immediately whimpered and looked exactly like a frightened and pitiful little thing. When Huichihan saw that Huichenwan did not care about her brother and sister-in-law after coming out and instead asked about the dog's condition, he became even angrier. Could it be that in this useless person's eyes, her brother was not as important as a dog? "Huichenwan, are you just going to let this be *tch humiliate your brother and sister-in-law? Are you going to let her trample on the family whose face so unscrupulously?" Huichenwan's hand, which was stroking Dun Dun, paused. Her cold eyes stared straight at Huichihan with ridicule. "Aren't you and your son the ones who trampled on the family whose face? What did you say? You brought a shady woman to cause a scene at the family whose wedding banquet before the engagement was annulled. You became the laughing stock of the upper class. After that, you followed that woman and did all kinds of shameless things, causing people to talk about you behind your back. It turns out that you still know how to protect the family whose face. I thought you had lost your face long ago. If you're here today to argue with me about the family whose face, then you can get lost. You're the last person in the world who has the right to say these things." Huichihan was startled by Huichenwan's cold gaze that suddenly swept over him. For some reason, he suddenly felt a little guilty. However, he quickly reacted and pretended to be calm as he roared, "Impudent! Is this the attitude you should have towards your big brother?" Huichenwan sneered and gave Uncle Zhang a look. Uncle Zhang understood and waved his hand to signal the servants to drive them out. Huichihan was so angry that he could not speak. It was Mrs. Hua, who had finally calmed down, who tried to smooth things over. "Chenhuan, what are you doing? No matter what, we're still a family. Is there a need to mobilize so many people? When there's trouble, we're family. When there's nothing going on, we'll just cut off all contact with each other. You've already said so much. Do you really think everyone is a sucker?" Su Yiyan's words were so hurtful that the smile on Mrs. Hua's face suddenly froze. After a while, she calmed down and said dryly, "Sister-in-law, you're joking." Su Yiyan's patience was worn out and she could not be bothered to argue with them anymore. "What exactly are you here for? Didn't you get married yesterday? Xiaofeng brought his girlfriend and wanted to congratulate you." Before Mrs. Huo could finish speaking, Su Yiyan interrupted her. "If I remember correctly, we didn't send an invitation to your family for our wedding." Both of them were well aware of this matter, but when the family Huo was mentioned so bluntly, the couple's faces still turned a little ugly. "Although we didn't have an invitation, we're still a family. Everyone in our family came to attend your wedding." In the eyes of outsiders, who knows how much gossip will spread? Chapter 283. I see. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and chuckled. "I was going to say that Hu Xiaofeng and I were once engaged. Now that I'm his elder, he has to call me aunt whenever he sees me. There are so many people coming and going at the wedding. If someone hears this, won't he be laughed at on the spot? Young people are arrogant. Maybe he thinks that I sent him an invitation to deliberately humiliate him. I didn't expect him to be much more thick-skinned than I thought. I didn't ask him to come, but he rushed over himself." In just a few words, she threw Mrs. Huo's praise back at her. At the same time, she also ridiculed Hu Xiaofeng for being shameless. They didn't even send them an invitation. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that they didn't want to see them on this festive day. Not only did they rush over themselves, but they also brought their mistress. Weren't they trying to disgust Su Yiyan? Mrs. Huo's expression stiffened when she heard this. "Your wedding is such a big event. How could no one come? Chihan and I have been busy these days, so we asked Xiaofeng to come." Su Yiyan looked at her with a half-smile and didn't comment. Mrs. Huo almost choked under her stare. After a few seconds of silence, she continued, "But I heard that something happened to Xiaofeng as soon as he landed on the island last night. He was knocked off the boat." "Oh, I know about this. I also heard that the person who hit him, you don't need to hear about it. The person who hit them and sent them to the hospital was my aunt." Hua Qihan and his wife didn't expect Su Yiyan to admit it so easily. They stared at Su Yiyan for a while before saying, "Your aunt? How can your aunt be so overboard? My son came to congratulate you with good intentions. It's fine if you don't welcome him, but how can you hit him?" Good intentions. If they had good intentions, there wouldn't be any evil people in this world. Ling Xiaoqi, who had been standing in the background, suddenly sighed. "So you know that Yan Yan doesn't welcome you?" Hua Qihan's face turned blue. He pointed at Ling Xiaoqi and scolded, "Who are you? How dare an outsider like you comment on our family Hua's affairs? If you dare to do it, don't be afraid of others talking about it." Su Yiyan was furious when she saw Hua Qihan yelling at Ling Xiaoqi. "Why are you yelling so loudly? Wasn't he still alive? Those who didn't know better would think that your son had died and no one was there to send him off. What are you talking about? Common language." Su Yiyan glanced at their indignant faces and said sarcastically, "Didn't you just say that you're a family? I'm his aunt, his elder, and my aunt is his elder. It's perfectly justified for an elder to teach a junior a lesson. Even so, you can't what? Do you really think that you don't know anything about the dirty things your son did back then if we don't mention it? My aunt has doted on me since I was a child. She happily came back to attend my wedding. As soon as she arrived on the island, she met two disgusting things. She taught them a lesson as an elder and taught them to respect their elders. What's wrong with that? Chapter 284. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, the two of them were so angry that they almost fell back. What did she mean by taking a detour when she saw their family members in the future? Was she going to beat him up every time she saw him? Arrogant, she was too arrogant. Su Yiyan only felt happy to see them like this. When Hu Xiaofeng's incident came out, This family was disgusting, especially the two people in front of her who always used their status as elders to suppress her. They wanted her to forgive Hu Xiaofeng for what he had done. She played it down as if what Hu Xiaofeng had done was just a trivial matter. She shouldn't care about it, or else she would be ungenerous. Now, she was the same generation as the two people in front of her. She was Hu Xiaofeng's elder, and her elder was the elder of Hu Xiaofeng's elder. Any one of them could use the name of being arrogant and disrespectful to elders to suppress her. It was hard to say who would be the most disgusting in the future. Su Yiyan aroused Hu Qihan's anger. He turned his head and shouted at Hu Qinhuan, "Qinhuan, control this B***tch. I think my wife is right, Anne." Hu Qinhuan's eyes were slightly sharp. She is not a B***tch. If you don't want your tongue, I can help you remove it. Hu Qihan choked. Do you really want to fall out with me because of this woman? The woman you're talking about is my wife. As for you. Hu Qinhuan's eyes were full of mockery. Instead of pestering me about falling out with you, it's better to go back and think about how to make up for the whole group's deficit during this period of time. Otherwise, the only thing you can rely on will change in a few months. Hu Qihan's face turned pale when he heard this. He looked at Hu Qinhuan with a bit more vigilance and hatred. My parents made a will that year and handed the whole group to me. Hu Qinhuan didn't comment. She only said ambiguously, the Hu family's surname is Hu. It used to be, it is, and it will be in the future. Hu Qihan's heart trembled violently, and he looked at Hu Qinhuan with even more trepidation. He did not even dare to look her in the eye. Hu Qinhuan saw the change in Hu Qihan's expression and her eyes darkened slightly. Nothing much. I'm just sending President Hua and his wife off. It's the second day of our wedding. My wife and I don't want to be disturbed. Once Hu Qinhuan said this, there was basically no room for negotiation. Mrs. Hu tugged at Hu Qihan's sleeve, wanting him to help say something. However, at this moment, Hu Qihan's mind was already in a mess because of Hu Qinhuan's words. How could he care about seeking an explanation for his son? Don't touch me. I'll walk by myself. Qihan. Hu Qihan had already left. Even if Mrs. Hu was unwilling, she had to follow him. Su Yiyan saw this and snorted coldly. She said to the several security guards outside the door, "You guys should be more vigilant in the future. Don't bring anything worse than pigs and dogs into the house." Dundon's small ears twitched, and it barked twice unhappily. Su Yiyan instantly understood. Okay. I was wrong. I shouldn't have compared this trash with you. Dundon was satisfied. It barked a few times in the direction of the two people arrogantly to express its disdain for them. Mrs. Hu hadn't gone far. When she heard Su Yiyan's words, she was so angry that she turned around and was about to walk back. Just as she was about to take the first step, she was blocked by the tall security guards. She was stunned. In the end, she didn't dare to confront them head-on. She walked away with an ashen face. Chapter 285. It was rare for Hu Qinhuan to be so angry, and the atmosphere instantly froze. In the end, Uncle Zhang was the first to break the silence. The news from the ferry said that two people somehow sneaked into the fleet and ran in while they were sending Mr. Yu off the island. Su Yiyan looked surprised. So coincidental? Of course not. I'm afraid they have been waiting there for a long time. Su Yiyan nodded understandingly. What about Yu Zian? Did he successfully get off the island? Or... After that, Mr. Yu was successfully sent off the island to be bandaged, but what? But when the two people rushed in, the scene was a little chaotic. Mr. Yu was already injured somewhere, and after being pushed down, his injuries worsened. I'm afraid he suffered some physical pain. Pfft. As soon as Uncle Zhang finished speaking, Gu Xiaoyang and Su Yiyan burst out laughing. Su Yiyan. She had to admit that it was really tragic. Hua Qinhuan listened to the ins and outs of the matter and looked a little better. She held Su Yiyan's hand and said apologetically, "It's my fault for not arranging it properly. There won't be a next time. I'm fine." Su Yiyan patted Hua Qinhuan's hand comfortingly. Then, she seemed to think of something and turned to Ling Xiaoqi. "I'm sorry you had to see this." Ling Xiaoqi chuckled and didn't care much. "It's okay. Not everyone gets to see the real-life version of a fight between rich and powerful families. You have to say, it was quite exciting. It's just that the difference between their ranks was too big. They were scared away with just a few words. I thought they would cry, make a scene, and threaten to hang themselves before it was over. Now it seems that I overestimated them." Zhuo Yanbai and the others looked at Ling Xiaoqi's shining eyes and her face filled with indescribable regret. The corners of their mouths twitched slightly, and they secretly sighed in their hearts. A person who can be young Madame's best friend is indeed not an ordinary person. Her mental fortitude is not ordinary, but her focus is a little off. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that she was indeed unaffected. Then, he turned his gaze to Hua Hua and chuckled. "I never thought that Hua Hua would stand up for our Dun Dun. From the looks of it, your Hua Hua isn't completely uninterested in our Dun Dun." In fact, it was not difficult to understand Hua Hua's thoughts. The two dogs were childhood sweethearts who had been in contact with each other since they were young. Hua Hua was cold and aloof. She usually ignored Dun Dun, but in her heart, she had long regarded it as her own dog. If one really looked into it, it was some kind of "my dog can only be bullied by me. If anyone else dares to touch it, see if I won't beat them to death" complex. Thinking of this, Su Yiyan's gaze suddenly became complicated as he looked at his own crossdresser. If Hua Hua was a bossy boss, what was her dog? A bossy boss's little wife. Done, bossy boss's little wife done. Ling Xiaoqi obviously saw this point as well. She reached out and patted Hua Hua's head with a look of disappointment. "Good for you." Hua Hua nestled in Ling Xiaoqi's arms and looked straight ahead like an emotionless king. It didn't even look at her. Ling Xiaoqi was angry and amused at the same time. She even suspected that this little ingrate had teamed up with Su Yiyan to deliberately set her up. Hua Qinhuan listened to the conversation between the two and was a little curious. "What are you talking about?" Chapter 286. When Hua Qinhuan heard what she said, he subconsciously glanced at the dog that he had been raising for more than a month. As the dog's father, he could see how much this little cub liked the dog called Hua Hua. Although he often despised the dog for being stupid and often acted dumb, it was still his own cub. As soon as we finished talking, we heard a noise outside. As soon as we came out, we found out that Hua Qihan had almost kicked Dun Dun and angered Hua Hua. Hua Qinhuan raised his eyebrows and quickly figured out the cause and effect. Following Su Yiyan's words, he asked knowingly, "You mean, don't you think it's fun? He usually seems to be cold to you, but if you are really bullied, he will definitely be the first to stand up and help you fight back." Hua Qinhuan didn't think much of it and unconditionally agreed with his little wife. "It's quite fun." Su Yiyan immediately smiled with a trace of slyness in her eyes. She leaned closer to Hua Qinhuan and said, "Isn't it like the old you?" "What? Isn't Hua Hua like the old you?" Obviously, he cared more than anyone else, but on the surface, he always pretended to be unapproachable. He even deliberately pretended to be indifferent just to make the other party back off. But if he really did back off, he might be angry and sad in his heart. The only difference was that Hu Chenhuan cared too much about his own shortcomings and was unwilling to let the person he loved make do with him. Hua Hua probably really thought that Dun Dun was too stupid and was a little disgusted. Dun Dun, who had been attacked many times by his owner, his father, and even his future mother-in-law, was speechless. Stupid dogs had no dog rights these days, right? What was stupid about it? It was honest. Honest. Ahem. Ahem. Seeing that the young couple had begun to show affection again, the few people present decisively chose to escape. Gu Xiaoyang said, "I have something to do in the afternoon, so I'll go back first." Zhua Yanbai said, "There's no one at the company to look after it. I'll go first. Then I will also." Ling Xiaoqi was about to run away with Hua Hua in her arms, but Dun Dun couldn't bear to see his wife run away again. He jumped out of Su Yiyen's arms in a hurry. He hugged Ling Xiaoqi's leg and refused to let go. He looked like a rascal who said, "If you want to leave, please take me with you. If you don't, I won't let you go." Hua Hua jumped down and raised its paw to hit Dun Dun, knocking it off Ling Xiaoqi's leg. Dun Dun wasn't sad. He got up and pounced on Hua Hua. Hua Hua dodged to the side and slapped its face with its paw, knocking it down. "Everyone, ahem, since it wants to follow you, you can bring it to your house to stay for a few days. I'll pick it up in a few days when I'm free." When Dun Dun heard Su Yiyen's words, he didn't feel disappointed that he was about to leave home. Instead, he couldn't wait and barked a few more times. Su Yiyen. "Fine, I don't want this little ingrate anymore. Whoever wants it can take it away." Ling Xiaoqi looked embarrassed. "That's not a good idea, right?" Dun Dun barked a few times in a hurry, fearing that he would be left behind. Su Yiyen's mouth twitched. He said helplessly and angrily, "There's nothing wrong with it. I'll be relieved if it stays with you." Ling Xiaoqi. "Is this a matter of whether or not you'll be relieved? This is a matter of whether or not I agree to this marriage." In the end, Ling Xiaoqi couldn't refuse the proposal of inviting a wolf into the house. She left with Dun Dun. Chapter 287. Although Hua Hua didn't object, she leaned close to Dun Dun from time to time and hit him on the head along the way. Dun Dun, who had been hit, was dumbfounded. Su Yiyen looked at the backs of the adult and the two children and didn't look away for a long time. Hu Chenhuan saw this and asked in a low voice, "You can't bear to see him leave?" Su Yiyen shook her head. "He's already stupid enough. If he continues to be hit like this, I'm afraid he'll be even more stupid when he comes back." "Hu Chenhuan, haven't you thought about the possibility that he won't come back?" Su Yiyen. That was heart-wrenching. After Ling Xiaoqi and the others left, the huge manor suddenly became a lot more empty and deserted. Su Yiyen pushed Hu Chenhuan upstairs and asked casually, "Xiaoyang and the others came to look for you at this time. Did something urgent happen at the company?" She thought about it and still felt that it was a little strange that the two of them came to look for her at this time. It was only the second day of their wedding. If there wasn't something particularly important, the two of them shouldn't have come to disturb her. Moreover, she was also a little concerned about what Hu Chenhuan had said to Hu Qihan just now. "It's not a big deal." After saying this, he seemed to be worried that Su Yiyen wouldn't believe him, so he added, "They came just because they want to eat the food you cooked." "They want to eat the food I cooked? You were cooking downstairs early in the morning and it smelled so good. It's normal that they want to eat it." Su Yiyen blinked. She still didn't quite believe that these seemingly serious elites would be so easily attracted by her meal. "But how did they know that I was cooking at home?" "Of course there's an insider." "An insider?" Su Yiyen's mouth twitched slightly. Was it necessary to make it sound like a spy among spies when eating a meal? Wait, you mean Xian? Yes. Su Yiyan silently lit a candle for Yu Xian in his heart. He had kindly informed his brothers to come over for a big meal, but in the end, those two people were not even willing to send him for an injection. What kind of plastic brotherhood was this? Seeing that Su Yiyan had stopped asking, Wu Qinhuan was silent for a moment and suddenly said, "Today, I've completely fallen out with Wu Qihan." Su Yiyan was slightly startled, and immediately apologized, "I'm sorry, it's all because of me and my family. I originally wanted to get someone to drive them away, but I didn't expect you to be involved." As soon as Wu Qinhuan heard her words, she knew that she had misunderstood. "I don't mean to blame you and my aunt. Even if it wasn't for you, there would be a day sooner or later. But if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have been able to." Before Su Yiyan could finish, she was interrupted by Wu Qinhuan. "Do you think they came to me because Auntie beat Hu Xiaofeng to the hospital?" "Isn't that the case? My sister-in-law came for Hu Xiaofeng, but Hu Qihan might not. If he didn't come for Hu Xiaofeng, then Wu Qinhuan glanced at her and smiled faintly. "It's because of what I said to those women last night. What you said to the Hu Corporation to terminate the cooperation with them." Su Yiyan was not stupid, and soon understood the key point. "He's worried that you will return to the Hu Corporation and take his position." "Yes." Wu Qinhuan nodded and asked tentatively, "If I say that I want to take back the Hu Corporation?" Su Yiyan's eyes lit up slightly. She walked around to Wu Qinhuan, squatted beside him, and looked at him eagerly. "Really? Wu Qinhuan?" Chapter 288. Don't you think I'm overestimating myself? My father made a will and left the Hu Corporation to Wu Qihan. Su Yiyan looked disapproving. "That's because your father was too." "Ahem, of course, I'm not speaking ill of our father. I just think that if he were still alive, he would definitely be angered by Hu Xiaofeng and Wu Qihan. He must have been bewitched by Wu Qihan, a sanctimonious hypocrite, when he handed over the company to Wu Qihan." Wu Qinhuan stared at Su Yiyan for a while and finally burst out laughing. "What's wrong? Did I say something wrong?" "No, you're not wrong." Wu Qinhuan's eyes were curved, and a rare pure smile appeared on his cold face. He looked harmless and warm. Su Yiyan had seen him smile before, but she had never seen him smile so relaxedly. It was as if something that had always been pressing on him had suddenly disappeared at this moment. "Are you dumbfounded?" Su Yiyan seemed to wake up from a dream. She grabbed someone's hand that kept swaying in front of her and said angrily, "No." Wu Qinhuan saw that she was really angry, so he didn't continue to tease her. He stopped while he was ahead and said, "Although Wu Qihan is an idiot, he has been in charge of the Hu Corporation for so many years. He must have some connections. I'm afraid it's not that simple to take back the Hu Corporation from him." "It doesn't matter. I'll help you." The indifference in Wu Qinhuan's eyes was washed away by Su Yiyan's words. He reached out and touched Su Yiyan's face and said hoarsely, "There are risks in everything. If I fail, I may lose everything." Su Yiyan was stunned. In her eyes, Wu Qinhuan was invincible even if he was sitting like this. However, she had forgotten that Wu Qinhuan, who had never put all her eggs in one basket because of her death, was also an ordinary person. She could cry, laugh, argue, and make a fuss. She could succeed and fail. Although Su Yiyan was very clear about how much wealth Wu Qinhuan had, she felt that the possibility of this happening was very small. It was comparable to Hu Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping turning over a new leaf. However, since Wu Qinhuan had said so, she seriously considered this possibility. Her eyes lit up slightly. "That's fine too. Are you all right?" Su Yiyan nodded with a serious face. "If you really have nothing, then I'll take care of you. Hua Qinhuan's pupils shrank. She was very surprised. You want to take care of me? Do you think I can't afford to raise you? Su Yiyan snorted coldly. Her face was unconvinced. Although our Su family isn't as rich as the family Hua, it's more than enough to take care of you. Moreover, I now have an entertainment company and a restaurant. Although the profits can't be compared to yours, it will definitely get better in the future. If that day really comes, I'll go out to earn money to support the family. You can stay at home and be as beautiful as a flower. I definitely won't let you go hungry. Hua Qinhuan was amused by her description. She lowered her head and touched her forehead. She smiled faintly and said, "Does that mean that I'm earning money to support the family and you're being as beautiful as a flower?" Su Yiyan blushed. She pretended to be calm and said, "Isn't this obvious? Or do you think that I'm not good-looking and not worthy of the words as beautiful as a flower? In my heart, there's no one in the world who's more beautiful than you." Hua Qinhuan hurriedly recovered her dignity. She smiled faintly and said, "It's just that after hearing what you said, I feel that I have to work harder in the future. After all, compared to being as beautiful as a flower, I prefer earning money to support you." Chapter 289. After his parents passed away, he thought that he would no longer have a home. But now, with the person in front of him, he had a home again. Earning money to support the family was equivalent to earning money to support Su Yiyan. There was nothing wrong with that. Su Yiyan blushed slightly and said with bright eyes, "Then you really have to work harder. It's not easy to support me." Okay. Su Yiyan and Hua Qinhuan were enjoying their lovey-dovey time together. On the other side, Hua Qihan's family was not so comfortable. Hua Qihan was frightened by Hua Qinhuan's casual words. His face was dark all the way and he did not say a word. Mrs. Hua wanted to break the silence, but she tried to pick a few words. Hua Qihan did not answer. In the end, he even complained that she was nagging and glared at her fiercely. Although Mrs. Hua was submissive at home, she had received a lot of attention over the years because of her identity as Mrs. Hua. After being snubbed, she was a little angry. Especially when she was still injured. Hua Qihan did not even say a word of comfort and treated her like this. She was a little angry. She immediately turned her back and did not talk to Hua Qihan again. For the rest of the journey, one of them was preoccupied and the other was resentful. They were as cold as two strangers. It was not easy to get off the boat. Hua Qihan called a car to go back to the company, leaving Mrs. Hua alone and asking her to go to the hospital. Mrs. Hua looked at the car that was driving away and her heart was full of anger. She went to the hospital alone, dressed her wound miserably, got vaccinated, and ran to her son's ward. However, she saw her son being intimate with the woman who had caused their family trouble. After being affectionate, she completely exploded. Wen Jingping did panic for a moment after being kicked into the water, but it was only for a moment. In her previous life, she had taken swimming lessons in college. Although she was not particularly proficient, she could at least paddle a little. Hua Xiaofeng, on the other hand, was a true landlubber. After being kicked down, he only knew how to struggle, but the more he struggled, the faster he sank. Wen Jingping looked at him and gritted her teeth. She tried her best to use her dog paddle to float up while trying to pull him. It was a pity that Hua Xiaofeng's weight was there, and his strength was great. The result of the tug was that both of them were exhausted and almost sank into the sea together. However, because of this, Hua Xiaofeng's attitude towards Wen Jingping changed drastically after he woke up. Hua Xiaofeng, who originally had some complaints and annoyance towards her because of the things she had caused during this period of time, now really regarded her as his savior and true love. He asked her about her well-being and was very considerate. Wen Jingping enjoyed the care of the rich young master and secretly rejoiced that she had made the right bet this time. Her deep affection, or rather, kindness, for risking her life to save Hu Xiaofeng was enough to make Hu Xiaofeng unswervingly loyal to her. It was also enough to make his family see her in a new light. In time, she would not have to worry about marrying into a rich family. Wen Jingping naturally thought that what she had done this time would help her smoothly make a good impression on Hu Xiaofeng's parents. However, she had never expected that this family would not be kind people. When Mrs. Hu arrived, Hu Xiaofeng had just peeled a big apple for Wen Jingping that Mrs. Hu had bought at a high price. The two of them shared the apple, and the entire room was filled with sticky pink bubbles. Mrs. Hu had just eaten a belly full of anger from her husband. When she saw this scene, she felt that it was indescribable. She immediately roared, "What are you doing?" Chapter 290. Wen Jingping and Hu Xiaofeng were shocked. They turned around and saw Mrs. Hu's face, which was as dark as the bottom of a pot. They were both surprised and confused. "Mom, you're back." As Hu Xiaofeng spoke, he glanced behind Mrs. Hu and frowned. "Why isn't Dad with you? Aren't you going to look for?" "Look for what? What's the point of looking for them?" Thinking about all the things that had happened to her today, Mrs. Hu was like a fire-breathing dragon. She wanted to scold everyone who came to her. "What did your dad and I tell you yesterday? Your uncle and Miss Sue are getting married. They didn't send us an invitation because they're narrow-minded and not generous. You should attend their wedding. Outsiders will only praise you for being steady and compromising. When you come back, your dad will let people spread the news and make it seem like you had no choice but to break off the engagement with the Sue family. He can even blame Hu Chenhuan and the Sue family." Mrs. Hu's tone suddenly became sharp. "What happened in the end? What did you do? You actually brought this woman with you. Was your brain squashed by a door? Or did you drink too much water before you fell into the sea and became delirious?" It was Hu Xiaofeng's first time seeing his mother so angry. He immediately felt a little guilty. "Mom, I didn't what? Didn't you bring her with you? Do you dare say that you didn't want to cause trouble when you brought her to their wedding?" Hu Xiaofeng choked. With a dark face, he avoided Mrs. Hu's probing gaze. How could Mrs. Hu not understand when she saw his expression? The anger on her face grew. "Why are you so brainless? You're really going to piss me off." After all, he was her own child. Although she was angry, she was unwilling to admit that he was hopelessly stupid. She decisively pushed all the blame onto Wen Jingping. "What kind of bewitching potion did this woman give you to make you do stupid things for her again and again, and let her use you as a tool?" After Mrs. Hu finished shouting, she pointed the spearhead at Wen Jingping. "It's you. It must be you. You begged Xiaofeng to bring you, didn't you? You shameless thing. When our Xiaofeng was about to marry into the Sue family, you came out to seduce him. You caused him to lose the marriage alliance, and you still don't let him go. You're trying to harm him. How can you be so vicious?" Wen Jingping's eyes widened. She never thought that the flames of war would inexplicably spread to her. She hurriedly tried to defend herself. "Auntie, I didn't. Xiaofeng asked me to go with him." Wen Jingping did have the idea of letting Hu Xiaofeng bring her to the wedding. But before she could put this idea into action, Hu Xiaofeng held a grudge against Su Yiyan for beating him up. He insisted on dragging her to the wedding to humiliate Su Yiyan. This was exactly what Wen Jingping wanted, so she didn't refuse. But now, he was actually blaming her for all the crimes. Mrs. Hu didn't care how she defended herself. Once she decided on something, she wouldn't give her a chance to refute. Xiaofeng, you're pushing everything to Xiaofeng. Do you really think that with Xiaofeng around, I can't do anything to you? Mrs. Hua's face was red. She pointed at Wen Jingping condescendingly and said fiercely, I'll tell you clearly today. Our family Hua will never let a woman like you marry into our family. If you don't want to be an underground mistress, you can break up with Xiaofeng right now. As long as I'm alive, you can forget about being our family Hua's daughter-in-law. Chapter 291. As Mrs. Hua spoke, she turned her head to criticize her son. You too. Your father warned you last time, but you didn't take it seriously. Now, I'm warning you again. Break up with this woman quickly. Otherwise, I'll pretend that I don't have a son like you. After Mrs. Hua finished speaking, she didn't wait for Hua Xiaofeng's reaction and limped away in her high heels. Hua Xiaofeng was stunned for a few seconds before he finally reacted. He hurriedly chased after her. Mom! The mother and son left just like that, leaving Wen Jingping alone on the hospital bed. Her face turned green and white, and her eyes were filled with tears of humiliation. Why? Why did she have to be humiliated like this by this old woman after doing so much? To put it bluntly, wasn't she looking down on her? It clearly wasn't her fault. It clearly had nothing to do with her, but she blamed her for everything. She wanted to pin everything on her head. B*TCH, B*TCH, they were all B*cheese. One day, she would definitely make this old woman kneel down and beg her. She would beg her like a dog. Wen Jingping's face was slightly distorted, and her eyes were filled with resentment and hatred. Su Yiyan had no idea what was happening in the hospital. She was busy preparing for Hua Qinhuan's first acupuncture treatment. Are you really not afraid of needles? Recalling Hua Qinhuan's behavior during the video call, Su Yiyan was still worried and confirmed it again. Hua Qinhuan wanted to say that she wasn't afraid, but when the words reached her mouth, she suddenly remembered Su Yiyan's previous description and silently swallowed them back down. The two of them looked at each other without saying a word. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Ahem, it's fine. My needles look scary, but they don't hurt. Take a look first. If you're really afraid, we'll think of another way, Su Yiyan said as she took out the needle. Hua Qinhuan's calm expression cracked a little when she saw the needle that was half the length of her palm being taken out. Su Yiyan had been paying attention to the changes in his expression. Seeing this, he asked tentatively, how about I do it myself first? If you can accept it, I'll do it for you. As soon as he finished speaking, Hua Qinhuan's hand pressed down on Su Yiyan's. No need. I don't need to stab you. Just stab me. Su Yiyan was very touched. However, if Hua Qinhuan did not say those words in such a fearless manner, she would be even more touched. Don't worry. I've done it for others before. I won't make a mistake like the first time. Leave it to me. Hua Qinhuan. Now that you mention it, I'm even more worried. No matter what, Hua Qinhuan would never let the needle stab Su Yiyan's body. He could only reluctantly sacrifice himself and let it stab him. The acupuncture treatment for lower body paralysis mainly used Yanglingquan, Zusanli, Xuanzhong, Huantiao, Yongquan, Sanyinjiu, and other acupoints. Most of these acupoints were on the legs. Only Huantiao's position was a little awkward. Su Yiyan's face couldn't help but redden a little before he started the acupuncture. He took a deep breath and said, You, take off your pants first. Outside the door, Uncle Zhang, who was walking around leisurely after dinner, was shocked. Hua Qinhuan raised his eyebrows and said with a faint smile, Are you sure? Su Yiyan's face was so red that it was about to explode. He glared at the person in front of him and said, What's there to be sure about? Take off your pants so that you can insert the needle. The heating in the room is so strong. Are you afraid of catching a cold? Hua Qinhuan's eyes darkened slightly. He asked knowingly, do you only take off your outer clothes or everything? Chapter 292. Fully off. Light. Su Yiyan almost suffocated on the spot. Just taking off the outside was already very restricted. If she continued to take it off, wouldn't it be unsuitable for children? No need. Just take off the outside. Take off the outside. Oh, Hua Qinhuan replied in a low voice and said, I can't move easily. Help me. Su Yiyan. Move easily, my ass. Last night, who was the one who refused to let her touch him? It's only been a day, and she's already letting herself go. Although Su Yiyan complained, she still went forward and took off Hua Qinhuan's pants. Her legs, which had not been moved for many years, were different from ordinary people's legs. They were unhealthily pale, and more or less shrunken. They were really not good-looking. Su Yiyan subconsciously reached out to touch them and asked in a hoarse voice, does it hurt? The light in Hua Qinhuan's eyes dimmed little by little. His lips curled up slightly, and he reached out to touch her head. It's okay. I didn't feel it when I woke up. It didn't hurt for long. It was a simple sentence, but it revealed a sense of helpless desolation and despair. Su Yiyan felt sad. She calmed herself down and took out a needle. Just as she was about to pierce it, she found that the person in front of her was tense. Nervous. A little. Just a little. Su Yiyan chuckled and reached out to pat his hand. Relax. I can't even pierce the needle into you like this. Hua Qinhuan glanced at the needle in Su Yiyan's hand, and then at her own legs. It's okay. It won't affect me. Su Yiyan. But you're making me feel like I'm harming you, not saving you. Su Yiyan pursed her lips and suddenly shouted, Qinhuan, yes. Lower your head. Hua Qinhuan subconsciously did as she was told. Then, she saw Su Yiyan's face magnified in front of her, and her lips were kissed. Hua Qinhuan subconsciously tightened her grip on the armrest. After the initial shock, she gradually relaxed. Just as he was about to turn the tables, Su Yiyan quickly retreated. Following that, she exclaimed in joy, it's in. Hua Qinhuan abruptly lowered her head and discovered that a needle had been inserted into her calf at some point in time. The end of the needle was still trembling slightly. Su Yiyan did not notice Hua Qinhuan's abnormality at all. After making sure that the needle was in the right place, she asked with concern, does it hurt? I didn't feel anything. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay. I just need a few more needles. Hua Qinhuan, as it turned out, it was much easier after the first needle. Su Yiyan began to concentrate on the acupuncture after inserting the needles into several acupoints. Su Yiyan, who had entered the state of mind, was completely different from her previous frivolous appearance. She was focused, serious, and even a little serious and cautious. Hua Qinhuan looked at her side profile and unconsciously fell into a trance. Until Su Yiyan inserted the needles for a while. Hua Qinhuan's originally steady breathing suddenly stagnated in her ear. She even heard the other party gasp. Su Yiyan paused and asked, what's wrong? Do you feel anything? Just now, I suddenly felt a little sore. Besides this, do you feel anything else? Hua Qinhuan carefully felt and said, it seems that it's still a little numb. Su Yiyan's tense face gradually softened. Do you feel uncomfortable? No, it's just a little strange. This was the first time he felt the sensation in his lower body since the car accident. Chapter 293. Hua Qinhuan was a little absent-minded, and there was an indescribably complicated feeling. For a moment, he even thought that he was hallucinating. Su Yiyan, on the other hand, was very excited. Her eyes were slightly red as she said, "It's like this at the beginning, and it may hurt a little later. This is inevitable. It means that your nerves are recovering bit by bit. The more pain it is, the better it will be. It's okay. I'm not afraid of pain." Su Yiyan was skeptical. How could a person who was afraid of needles not be afraid of pain? Hua Qinhuan did not know that his unyielding and omnipotent image in Su Yiyan's heart had been completely destroyed because of this needle. After Su Yiyan finished the needles, she helped Hua Qinhuan do moxibustion, and then massage. The so-called massage was, of course, not just a casual push. It needed to be like acupuncture, and there were also pressing, rubbing, wiping, and other methods. Different diseases and different acupuncture points required different massage methods. For Hua Qinhuan's disease, she first massaged the glabella, baihui, fengfu, and other acupuncture points, then moved down to the jianjing, jianhua, qiuqi, and other acupuncture points, and finally some acupuncture points on the back and lower limbs. From top to bottom, it could be said that he had done a thorough full-body massage. When it was over, Su Yiyan was already unbearably tired. Hua Qinhuan had already fallen asleep under the moderate pressure and the soothing incense in the room. Su Yiyan sat on the floor at the head of the bed. While resting, her eyes were fixed on the side of the person on the bed. After a long time, she leaned over and kissed him. "It's been hard on you, but it's all worth it. I promise." When Hua Qinhuan woke up the next day, Su Yiyan had already gone downstairs to prepare breakfast before him. He had no recollection of what happened in the second half of the treatment. He only vaguely remembered that Su Yiyan seemed to be giving him a massage when he fell asleep. After waking up, not only did he feel much better, but even his heavy body seemed to have become much lighter. Ahem. As soon as Hua Qinhuan came downstairs, Uncle Zhang slowly floated in front of him and took the initiative to greet him. "Good morning, young master." "Good morning." Hua Qinhuan nodded. Just as he was about to go around him to find Su Yiyan, he saw Uncle Zhang following him with an expression of hesitation. Hua Qinhuan frowned slightly. "What's the matter?" Uncle Zhang's expression, he said, "Young master, I can understand that you and young madam are, you two newlyweds, it's inevitable, it's hard for you to part ways." Hua Qinhuan took a few seconds to understand the meaning of Uncle Zhang's words, and the expression on his face suddenly became subtle. Until now, only Zhua Yanbai and Su Yiyan, who had accompanied him to the hospital, knew about his impotence. The others either had some guesses or were really not clear about it. He didn't even tell Yu Zian and the others. The reason he hid it from Uncle Zhang was that he didn't want Uncle Zhang, who had watched him grow up and was also the only elder in the family Hua who sincerely treated him well, to be sad and even blame himself for this matter. He didn't expect that because of his concealment, it would cause such a big misunderstanding. Uncle Zhang had probably heard all the noise they made in the room over the past 2 days and mistakenly thought that the two of them, you're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.